Bride of the Living Dummy. Yeah. This one I always thought was alright. I mean, it's not my favorite Slappy book, but yeah, it's not the worst Slappy book, I'd say. So yeah. I always thought the cover was very hilarious. Yeah, anyway, so what's the plot of Bride of the Living Dummy? So basically, you have this girl named Jillian, and she has these two twin sisters, Katie and Amanda, and they have this big, ugly doll named Mary Ellen that they carry around with them. They bring Mary Ellen everywhere they go. Oh, yeah. So one day, Jillian takes Katie and Amanda along with Mary Ellen to a ventriloquist show. And the ventriloquist is Jimmy O. James. And he has a dummy with him. Do you want to guess who that dummy is? Yep, Slappy. And it's pretty obvious Slappy's already alive. Yeah. And then Slappy insults Katie and Amanda and Mary Ellen, and they get offended by it. So they go backstage to complain to Jimmy. Well, Jillian tells her friend Harrison, who she brought along with, to split up and look for them. So she goes to the dressing room and she peeks through Jimmy's dressing room through the keyhole and sees him arguing with Slappy. And Slappy punches Jimmy and gives him a nosebleed. Well, I mean, this is Series 2000 after all. Oh, yeah, and, well, Jillian comes in and Jimmy tells her that it's all an act. Yeah. So, yeah, so she finds the twins and takes them home and only to find Slappy, like, back home. Well, Harrison tells Jillian that he found him in the trash. So he assumes Jimmy doesn't want him anymore. So yeah, well, and before she can read the magic words Jillian, she gets called by her mom. And of course, like the other Slappy books, bad things happen, kids get blamed. Yeah. Like, well, one of the shenanigans is like Jillian's pet lizard, a Petey, his cage gets smashed. And and the lizard is stuffed inside Slappy. And there's an incident with Pie because Jillian and Harrison are birthday clowns. So yeah, and then involving a cream pie. Yeah, and then spaghetti gets splashed on the curtains and walls. Yeah. So yeah, and then Jillian and Harrison decide to try and find Jimmy to see if they could talk to about Slappy. So they ride their bikes. They go to a bad part of town where Jimmy lives. Like they go to his house and they find his diary, and it reveals Slappy's origin. Not gonna tell you Slappy's origin is, but yeah. And then, well, Jillian and Harrison have another birthday coming up, but this time they decide to do a ventriloquist show. So yeah, Jillian finds a new dummy called Maxie to replace Slappy, and Harrison's gonna use Mary Ellen. Well, unfortunately, Maxie gets replaced by Slappy. Yep, and Slappy, of course, well, he vomits Exorcist style, just like Mr. Wood did in Night of the Living Dummy 1. And he drags the birthday boy across the basement floor. And then, well, it's revealed Mary Ellen's alive too. So yeah. and Mary Ellen tells Jillian that Slappy wasn't alive until the party. Yeah, and then, well, turns out Slappy wants nothing to do with Mary Ellen. He wants to marry Jillian. Yep, he wants to marry a 12-year-old girl. Yep, that's not creepy at all. And then he gives her a love tap. Yep. Yeah. Slappy is pretty violent in this book. Yeah, I say this is probably Slappy at his most violent in this book. Well, something happened. Well, because, and then Jillian's dad's workshop is in the basement too. And let's just say something happens to Slappy and Mary Ellen. And then and let's just say something happens to Jillian at the end. So that's essentially Bride of the Living Dummy. So the positives. I kind of like Slappy in this book. I mean, he's not as good as he was in Night of the Living Dummy 3. Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, he is kind of cartoonishly over the top in this book, but he was alright in it, I guess. He's also got a makeover Slappy. Like, he doesn't have, like, the gray coat. Instead, he wears a red and white checkered sports coat. Yeah. Yeah, and I do like the twist of Mary Ellen being alive, too. I mean, sure, it was predictable, but it was a good twist nonetheless. Yeah, and I do have a couple of negatives. It's never explained how Zane from Night of the Living Dummy 3, like, how did Slappy go from Zane to Jimmy O. James? Like, it's never explained. I know Goosebumps and continuity don't really go well together, but still, I want, like, it jumps over, like, it avoids that the book. And and as I said, it's a very formulaic book. Like, if you read the previous 3 dummy books, you're not seeing anything much new here. Yeah, it pretty much has the same formula as the other dummy books. Yeah, yeah, bad things happen, kids get blamed, Dummy's alive as turns out Dummy's alive. Yeah. I mean, I only really I mean, it's not a bad book, don't get me wrong, but being the 4th dummy book, you kind of expect more from it than just a run. I mean, it's a mediocre book. That's all I have to say about it. It's nothing extraordinary. It's just eh. Yeah. So anyways, thanks for watching again. Subscribe.